The our focus is a lot on mechanical engineering and then driving people to it used to be called rapid prototyping, then 3D printing, and we've gotten into additive manufacturing stage where we've brought together a collection of great vendors that can bring you parts, whether they be in metal or in polymer, in for additive manufacturing. Traditional manufacturing will never go away. This is a way to allow you to utilize additive for what's best. It is a tool. Utilize it for that. We can print in stainless steel. We can print in titanium, aluminum. We have customers that are in the sporting goods gun industry, all the way to prosthetics, variety of things that are great, great ways for additive manufacturing.
Well, that's great. I appreciate you sharing about that. And yes, we're very excited, Kelly, to have you and your team and Impact Systems Engineering with us at the forum coming up in November here in Houston for the Energy Drone Robotics Coalition. When we talk about those kind of solutions that you're mentioning, how are drone companies or drone manufacturers, how does that help them possibly scale or get faster because it's at the point they need it versus some of the traditional supply chain? Why do you see some of the adoption going on now in the drone industry around additive manufacturing?
So that's a very great question. So the drone industry is not really in its infancy, but it's certainly not in Main Street as far as the larger drones. So there is drones that are utilized for tracking wildlife, for flying along gas pipelines. So you think about it as your phone cover case, they make hundreds of thousands at a time. Okay. Plastic injection molding is great for that. For the drones, they want them to be a particular model, whether they are a VTOL that they can go ahead and take off vertically and then fly horizontally. So, and they're not making tens of thousands of these. And so they want to make them in a very customizable type way. And that's where the additive can come in. So they're allowed, they can make them very to their specifications, very thin, lightweight, can accommodate different motors. And then they can play with what is best for the way their specifics for their customers or for the needs.
Got it. So really, they're being able to customize, localize their supply chain, and at the same time, they get speed because they're able to do it so much faster because they have the additive manufacturing 3D printing on site.
The additive manufacturing can do a just-in-time manufacturing. So I'm bringing it to what I want at that specific time rather than possibly waiting for a mold, and whether it's the correct mold, whether they've made some iterations, or they might want to try 5 different ways and see what's best. And then they they start with additive and then go traditional manufacturing from there. So kind of a bridge manufacturing.
Interesting. So it's really a great area then for testing designs and prototypes.
Yeah,
It sounds like, which is so much of what you have when you have an aerodynamic type
correct.
device like a drone.
Yeah.
Okay,
But then
great.
we can go. Then the next step is if they're not going to be producing, you know, a quantity of tens of thousands, that they actually can do it in a production where we're doing additive as a production. So that's something new. I mean, some of our vendors are Hewlett Packard, HP, small little company. You might have heard of them on the polymer side. On the metal side, we represent One Click Metal. So as I mentioned, the aluminum frame. We have a drone flying with a small aluminum frame with cameras and everything else. So it's a great tool, very great tool for what it's used for.
So different materials, different types of vendors they can work with. And even when you say metal, we think of heavy, right, with metal, but you're saying aluminum absolutely makes a flyable drone and is, durable but lightweight.
Correct. Yes, sir.
That's fantastic. What do you see over the horizon, as next steps? Because as you mentioned, drones certainly aren't in their infancy, but it's still early days. Do you think you'll start to see more of an uptake where more drone manufacturers are utilizing 3D printing? Do you think service companies might start to have 3D printing to do replacement parts, components? Kind of where do you see the next phase of this going?
It's a great question. I'll answer it. Head of the U.S. Army came out recently and said we need to have more 3D printing because think about it. They're on the front line. They're away from a supply chain. They
Mhm.
might be in unfriendly territory. So they need a part and they need it quickly and they need it customized for what it is. Drones are becoming a big thing, whether it be in the battlefield. You're seeing drones utilized more in schools. So rather than send in the police force, they'll send the drones in first, whether it be for surveillance or even to be able to get into that particular room and run into uh, the person at 100 miles an hour. So, it's less likely a loss of life, safer, and just brings much greater things to it. But you mentioned supply chain earlier. That's where I can get to market in days and weeks rather than months. And so my competitor, whether it be for the competitors, additive is used in for getting patents or investments. I want to show my investors what my final product's going to look like because they want to know where their money is going. So it can be utilized in many different ways.
Interesting. So, taking a look at it, Kelly, is there anything that we haven't discussed that are some of the benefits with 3D printing and additive manufacturing that come to mind that of the many we've already covered? Is there any that we haven't covered that you think we should talk about today?
Just talk about a couple other key aspects that you brought up. One would be, as we discussed, time to market in this political climate that we're in with tariffs. If better to be made in America back here, I'm not having to wait on uh, a foreign entity to produce it, and I'm also keeping my intellectual property internally rather than it going out. Similar to letting your children play in the street, for instance. I'm keeping what I want, and it's lowering my cost, and I'm able to get my product out the door faster.
Control of intellectual property and your supply chain,
Yes,
certainly keeping that domestic has become quite a priority, no
yes,
doubt.
yes,
Yeah.
correct.
No, those are very good points. Great. Well, Kelly, I just want to say once again, Kelly, thank you so much with Impact Systems Engineering being with us today and on this Tech Talk. And, I know folks are going to be able to find you not only online and be able to see some of the great resources you have, but they're going to see you live at the Energy Drone Robotics Forum,
Yeah.
November 12th at the Ion in Houston, Texas. Thanks so much, Kelly. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it very much. Look forward to seeing you in November.